So what are some common misconceptions people have about fitness and health?
Probably that if you are in good shape, that you're healthy. I think that's a big one. I think you see a lot of fitness influencers who you think are in good physical and mental health. And I know from experience of spending a lot of time around fitness influencers and stuff, their heads are fucking gone. Like a lot of those, like some of the shape that those people in, it's not a healthy relationship that they have with their health and fitness. And a lot of them will admit it as well.
I wish more would actually come out and talk about that though, because I think it's all great making a life from that. And a lot of people do make money and make a life from that, but I think it damages so many other people. It would be great if some people came out and said, oh, look at the shape I am on this photo shoot, but I need to tell you how I felt around the time of this photo shoot and how low I was, because you've got the average person, like I said, 66% of people are obese or overweight. They're looking at these great images and they're thinking, you know what, I would love to be like that. And they think these people are like that every day, but actually they've just prepped for a competition.
I think I understand where the fitness influencers are coming from, because they have to make money. And that's the way that they make money. And it's like, obviously a lot of it's misleading. Obviously if you're in the fitness industry, you totally understand. But I struggle to understand what other people will be thinking who don't know it so well. Because I understand it, I'll look at it and I'll go, they look like that for 6 hours max. And then the day after, they probably look totally different. And also, if you spoke to them, they'd probably say they look like shit. They'd probably be like, oh, man, like, I hadn't come in enough, or I wasn't how I was supposed to be. I was holding too much water here. My muscle bellies hadn't filled out. Like, they'll be pulling it apart.
I think one of the biggest things as well is, I think when people are trying to maybe do a transformation or trying to just lose some fat percent, I think people do think it's all about the exercise. And I think people still think it's all exercise, when actually you can change your calorie intake versus your outtake, and that will have a bigger change than what exercise would have on losing fat percent. So it's just getting a nice balance of the two and not trying to overdo it. I always say to my clients, never ever start something you can't keep up long term.
I used to have 2 rules for diets. Could you do this in a year's time? Could you do this on days that you don't feel your best? Because if the answer to either of those is no, then you're setting yourself up for fail. And obviously I understand that, you know, people go through different stages of like maintenance and fat loss and fat gain and muscle gain, whatever. You know, there's a lot of periodization. And, you know, if your coach has got you on some sort of periodized plan, then that's slightly different. But usually when people are like, you know, doing it themselves and they're doing something that's extreme, it's fool's gold, because you're not going to be able to do it in a year's time. You're not building good habits.
It's all about sustainability.
Exactly, sustainability.
So what is your favorite type of workout and why?
Me personally, I like to do a short, sharp half an hour. And I think it's because, again, we go back to sustainability, and I can only fit in half an hour a lot of the time in my day. I've got a 14-month beautiful daughter now, and that with my work commitments and trying to keep a happy life at home, I feel like I haven't got an hour at one time to give. I should try and like manage my life better, but I feel like I'm already managing my life and I haven't got an hour. So for me, it's making the best of that half hour, trying to do it more often. So instead of trying to kill yourself for an hour, hour and a half, I try to split that into half an hour a day over maybe 3 times. But as I'm getting a little bit older, I'll be honest, I don't train as heavy. Tend to do a lot more lighter work now, work on flexibility a lot more now. And also, I'm obsessed with golf as I've got older. I was going to say that, like, doing a workout doesn't have to be a gym workout. Favorite thing to do is probably play sports. You know, in terms of, I love going to the gym because I think it's a good mental outlet for me. You know, go in there, do some, like, throw some weights around, have a good time. Love training with people. Love doing like a bit of a intense weight workout. But you know, if I had a choice between going and play basketball for an hour, or going to the gym, or going for a kickabout, or doing something like that, I'd much prefer to do that. So I think that the exercise that you enjoy doing is the best workout. And I was just about to say it, Alex, obviously sport, But also, gym workouts can almost feel like a sport.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that come to my studio, some of the stuff that we do, we're always having a laugh. It's always fun.
Well, we went to the gym the other day and it was like, just,
yeah,
we went to the gym the other day and it was fun.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have to be so serious. Even CrossFit's got that element of sport about it.
Competitiveness, yeah.
A lot of people that come to my gym, for instance, they would find CrossFit too tough at first. So it's horses for courses, but I definitely think it's that element of making sure you enjoy it and it's fun.
What are some common diet myths you've heard, and how do you debunk them?
Oh, fucking hell. I had someone ask me if bananas are dairy in them.
Really?
Straight up. Cutting dairy out, can I have bananas? Yeah, I do feel bad. I do feel bad for people though, because so many people are like, and I'm not really even necessarily against the people who do this, but there's so many people who just like bullshit in the fitness industry or in any industry just because they take advantage of people when they got a lack of knowledge in it. It's just they take advantage of them because it's an easy win. Always trying to invent something new. Like there's always got to be. Do you know what I mean? Because you got to kind of invent something, don't you, to like get people to part with their money, unless you want to just do hard work. And people lap it up because they love it. There's not many people who don't know now that to get in good shape, you've got to eat well, as in eat fruit and veg, eat lean protein, eat good sources of carbohydrates, not eat too much, don't eat refined sugars, don't eat too high saturated fats, don't eat too much salt, don't eat fast food. There's not many people that don't know that they're the kind of rules. And move your body a bit, go and exercise, walk, run, swim. There's not many people that if you ask them, oh, how do you get in shape? They wouldn't list those things. Let's assume that most people actually know how to get in good shape. They don't really want to do it because it's not that fun. It isn't. There's better things to be doing with your time.
It's a bit of a minefield as well. And I think a lot of clients that come to our place, they've tried everything before. I think a lot of clients also have been brainwashed into all these things. So they've got to jump over 10 different hurdles. They've got to jump through hoops. They've got to do this. Whereas I think sometimes it's about just like sort of simplifying that and taking one hurdle at a time. And
it's because people want to accept that the real reason they're not in good shape isn't because they weren't eating well or exercising. It was because actually they've been lied to this whole time. That's nicer, because then you can shift the blame to, well, I just didn't know, as opposed to, oh, well, I did know, I just wasn't really doing it. So it's like when something like that comes up and it's like, oh, actually, it's keto. That's the reason that you're not in good shape. You know what it is, James? It's not that you haven't fucking trained in 7 years and you eat shit every weekend and drink. You just eat after 6 p.m. That's the reason you're not in good shape. It's a more convenient truth for them. They're like, oh, right, okay, that'll do.
It's also the training of the trainer. A lot of trainers, especially nowadays with Instagram and Facebook, they've had some sort of basic training. They've just jumped into the industry and they're shouting from the rooftops, when actually what they should do is really concentrate on their training, make sure they're trained with the right people, make sure they're mentored with the right people who are going to tell them the right messages, and then doing it that way, then they can shout the right messages. I think a lot of people that start in the industry, a lot of them haven't got the right type of training from the right type of trainer. They don't realise that. So they're, like I say, most people think if you shout loudest, you get further in life.
And if you're saying something that's like against the grain.
Look at us back in the day, mate. Some of our information that we used to teach was not quite correct at all. You were getting taught off a few nutritionists to say these things at the time. As you grow on, you sort of get onto the courses, the Martin McDonald's, you start looking at James Smith stuff, and you start getting the proper messages, and your training does go on a level. And
it's all about education, isn't it? It's all just about the education. It's about getting education from people who you trust that aren't just trying to sell you some shit. And I think that is getting better.
It comes back to obviously the other stuff that you and myself do, and making sure that like people aren't just doing an online course and they're not just getting the basics in that coupled up with a really good mentor.
Learning from someone who's in the industry.
Back in the day when I first started, if I've had the chance to partner up with a really good mentor that knew that stuff, a great shortcut to being a good trainer. Now, wouldn't it put out some of the bad messages I did? And I'm big enough and ugly enough to admit some of the stuff at the start wasn't quite right.
That's so important, to just be willing to work on yourself and to accept that maybe there was some things that you weren't sure on back in the
Yeah.
day, and there wasn't a culture of being like, oh, I'm not sure about this, I'll go and find out.
Yeah.
It was like you had to be the expert on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so we sometimes don't know, and it's hard for clients because you know what I mean. If your job's a lawyer, you don't have fucking time to research all these things yourself. You just got to take it on face value. And when there's people putting stuff out there, especially if they look in amazing shape, if someone in amazing shape is saying it, then it must be right.